All right there. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
How's it
So,
going? We had some technical problems in here, and I had an emergency I had to attend to, so I had to discontinue with the stream. And we had Spurs and Ben together with us, so we had a break, and I'm not sure whether they can join us. I apologize to the viewers as well, and sometimes these things happen, and the technical problem was basically crashing the stream, and I had to reload the whole thing several times, and therefore I couldn't resume as quickly as I wanted, and we are very dependent on the technical side of things in order to deliver everything here. So that's the trouble.
yeah.
Let me just see whether I can bring them in. Paphos is not joinable, and let me see, Ben is not joinable. Well, we have several people. They probably are in a squad, and therefore I can't bring them in. Let me see.
Well, we can just sit here and wait for a while.
Yeah, the trouble is I need to wrap up in about half hour, so I think for me it's the last game of the day. I already had quite a number of games today, and what do you fancy? Do you fancy just a quick match, or do you want to wait?
We could do a quick match, and then when the others come in, we play with them then.
It's just that I'll have a cut-off hour, you know. I need to get my dinner and everything else, and really usually I end around 8:30, but today I thought I was going to give it extra 15 minutes because we had this sort of interference which was unexpected. That's all really. And you know, if Paphos, Spanner, Spurs and Ben are in a team, they'll probably just carry on playing without a break, which is very likely.
Yeah.
And I think probably best for us to just crack on with a quick match. And it's been a bit of a strange day today with the whole thing, and well, what can I tell you? Such is life, you know. Sometimes things don't really work out as planned. And it's interesting because at the moment we had lots of people coming in at the same time, but during the day, whilst I had the stream on, there was just Sekapupu and myself. Everyone else was not here, and therefore we played with quite a few randoms, and really the matches were not particularly good. Got to admit, randoms were not engaging, and you know they're doing the solo effort. And anyway, so in view of that, I think the best thing to do is just to crack on, and if they come in later, then you can obviously squad up with the rest and have maybe a few more matches. But for myself, it's going to be you know, the end of the day, so to speak. How is everything?
Okay.
Is it cold?
Yeah, it's freezing cold. It's gonna be -3 at 10 p.m. soon. So
-3, yeah. Yesterday I went to have dinner, and it was probably one of the coldest nights I've ever seen in England ever. It was absolutely freezing. Although they said it was like -2, I felt it was -7 or 8. Very sort of icy cold winds, and snowing somewhat a bit, you know, in the nature reserve. But it was so cold because generally when I have my gloves on, let's say if I take them off, then I'm just saying that it was like so cold that if I was to take my gloves off for a second, my hands would freeze immediately. You know, and that's really very rare. You get that in the Dolomites or in the Alps, and not over here. So it was very
or in Michigan.
Night. Oh, Michigan as well, yeah. Or Salt Lake City. Gets very cold out there. Alaska.
Dropping into the area. Watch the skies.
Yeah, I have a family who's moving into Alaska now.
Alaska must be very cold.
Enemy dropping.
I didn't believe it. I've been so many times. It's been on Oh, Sunny's there. Hello, Sunny. How are you doing? Sunny's saying, hello, Mr. Miller. Hello, sir. How are you doing? Good to see you. Happy New Year to you, sir. We've not talked since. Hope you're well. Hope everything is good. It's probably my last match of today. Hi, Sunny. How's everything in Amsterdam? You also enjoying that cold weather? I don't really get it. We keep playing this lobby on and on. What's going on? It's like glitched or something.
We're stuck in the Matrix, man. It's all a simulation. I remember playing a game once with nothing but 50 players in it.
No, this is really odd.
This is like the, third, fourth time that this has happened to me.
Well, the game was quite glitchy today, and, you know, I've had several issues earlier. Sunny says it is as cold as it is in the UK. Well, we actually have great start for some really cold weather. Last week has been absolutely freezing in my local. I was just saying to Hunter, felt like -10 last night when I was walking out on my dinner, and icy cold winds. You know, the temperature probably was about -4, but it felt a lot colder than that. It was unbelievably cold. I actually do not remember that sort of cold air up here in my local area. But you know what, Hunter, we need to go back because we're going to be stuck in here for hours. Any snow in Amsterdam?
Like I said, I had worse. I had a game with only 50 players in it.
Really?
Oh, I just threw up in my mouth.
Somewhere. Sunny was saying to us that we can stay in there for a while and just beef up on the number of kills. Yeah, we could, but you know, we were thinking of ending the broadcast around 9:15, and we want to have at least one match because Hunter just joined us. I was in a team with Sekapupu earlier, and then when Ben and Spez joined us, I had an emergency to attend to, and there were some technical issues with the stream, so we had a break of about half hour. So it's been a bit of
Why does puke taste so bad?
What's happened?
Threw up in my mouth.
Were you sneezing, or was it just like...
No, it just came up all of a sudden. I threw up in my mouth.
Oh, no,
it's burning in the back of my throat.
Very sorry to hear that. That is definitely very unpleasant. If you have some water, just drink some water to clear it all up. Sunny says that sounds really, really nasty. Well, yeah, I mean, you know, when you get those burps and something happens of that sort, it's very unpleasant. I've got to admit, I never had that, ever. Never happened to me even once.
Wait,
so I'm
really?
I'm kind of blessed not to have endured it, but I've heard of other people to have stomach upset, or, you know, there are situations when it does happen. Well, this lobby is going to be good, so we are alright.
Yeah, I got reflux problems. I have a tendency to overproduce, what's it called? Stomach acid.
Yeah, that can be really then causing nausea. I mean, you know, just generally, it's very difficult.
No, but you gotta be joking, right? You gotta be joking that you've never thrown up in your mouth.
Well, no, I did have that, but it wouldn't happen to me just out of the blue. You know, as if I was like seated after a meal or something. You know, like some people get slight irritations, or some food comes up. That's not happened to me, but I did have a couple of times, you know, flu or some other kind of stomach irritation. Because I have a very, very sensitive CNS, what happens is I get like an instant reaction to it, and that protects it from all other kinds of ills, but can be very, very unpleasant. So, you know.
Huh. That's honestly interesting.
Gas is approaching your position. Move to the
Because for me, it's a really common occurrence for me to just randomly throw up in my mouth.
But you know, we're all different. We all kind of operate differently, and
God created man equal. Then why do I throw up in my mouth but you don't?
people react very differently to certain stimuli, you know.
objective updated.
Yeah. For instance, I can go on with for about 4 months of barely any sleep or any food or anything, just high amount of stress. And then you got people who can't last a week with that.
Well, that's right. It's very, very different from person to person. I'm very dependent on sleep, and I can have longer stretches without any, but that has to be, you know, practical. I would need to be like in full motion and really constantly active. But generally, I need my 9 hours of sleep. Otherwise, you know, like 5 or 6 hours, that's definitely not good for me.
No, for me it was I was going to school because I switched schools to Germany.
Yeah.
And so it was always something new, something different. And because I had my girlfriend at the time, she sadly broke up recently, but at the time, I would always devote all the time I could to spend with her.
Yeah.
And it's hard to describe shortly how my timetable was, but let's just say I got about 5 hours of sleep every day, on average. So sometimes it was less, sometimes it was more, because I would wake up at 5:30 a.m. to get a bus, and then I would come back home at 5:30 p.m.
Yeah.
That's when I would get home, and yeah. And plus also all the homework you have to do, whatnot. It was heck of a lot of stuff.
Well, it does sound really, really tricky type of schedule.
Yeah, and I somehow managed, because like I said, it was waking up 5:30 a.m. and then never having a single hour for myself, so on and so forth, for 4 months. Yeah.
That's
I had that for 4 months.
Yeah. Well, that would be a bit too difficult for me, you know, all considering.
Yeah, well, eventually it gets to you.
It does. I mean, generally, remember, if you want to have a kind of a lengthy stretch without sleep, what's fundamental is you're constantly active, mentally and physically. And then you have a cut-off point in the military. They'll be looking for the usual span between 5 to 7 days. So if you're tactical in the field, up to 7 days, you can be stretching it, but you know, like...
Sorry, I've got a bit of leg.
Having a nap now and then, but after a week
Yeah.
you need to catch up properly, because otherwise the body will begin to pack up and there'll be all kinds of physical issues.
Yeah, and I didn't have any physical or mental issues for, like I said, for 4 months. And then eventually I started breaking down. I just did not have any sleep. I did not have any willpower anymore.
Yeah, it does affect your biology, which means can affect obviously your mood and various other aspects of behavior. You know, if one is like highly dehydrated or experiencing like really cold weather and all of that, does have a serious effect. I mean, you know, we're all different. Some people are affected more than others, but certainly can be of concern. One shouldn't push it. Don't forget, if you are in the emergency services, military and that, you'll have both training and everything else that will give you with enough knowledge on when to cut off. But when you're doing it like in day to day, it's a different story altogether. sadly, it happens to a lot of people
Drop headed your way.
who are, living in London or these massive big cities, and they're not getting enough sleep 5 to 6 days a week, and
Yeah.
it affects them if they're doing it like 5-10 years in a trot. It's like really, really bad. They start developing all kinds of health problems, and definitely not for me. I'm always adhering to the healthiest life possible.
Redeploying to the AO.
Yeah.
Objective
But
accomplished.
I didn't exactly have much of a choice in that case. For me, I had to do it because it was school.
Yeah.
But remember when I joined you guys and I said I'm not doing that great?
Yes, I remember.
It was because like this recent string of events of like lack of sleep, lack of food, just lack of time and anything for myself. And also my girlfriend left me after we've been together for an entire year. And then I also came to the realization that I have absolutely no one in my life. No friends,
Oh, I'm very sorry to
no
hear
one.
that. Well,
You got my family, of course, but
good job you found us, or we found you.
yeah. Yeah, thankfully.
Online communities are absolutely terrific for people who are, mobile, or people who are like those digital nomads living in different countries and working off the laptops, because people don't realize that sort of work is very solitary, They spend 12 hours a day
Yeah.
on the laptop and doing various things. So having an online community with gamers and Twitch streamers and everyone else like Xbox Game Club is the best possible
Thanks.
solution. It really does make
Yeah,
a
it was really
difference.
and it was really nice to like realize that I'm completely alone, but then immediately think about you guys and think about all the fun we have together.
Oh yeah.
And that really did help me. That and really heavy rock.
I'm very glad to hear that. Like any squad, we always here to help. And and one of the things about my channel, which has been very popular during the last kind of 3 to 4 years, is to do with regularity of my streams. I'm very regular with my streams, like every day, few hours, and then people know exactly what to expect and who's going to be there. They keep coming and watching, and sometimes you get people watching and not at all talking. But then eventually they'll pop in and say a few things. Pathos, for instance, was a member of our community for a while, and he didn't use his mic, or he didn't say anything very much. And then eventually, being a member of our community, we all kind of closed ranks, and everything was cool. So,
Nice.
People will require maybe a bit more time to kind of have a look and decide whether a particular community is for them, whether they blend in well. Obviously, for us, the native English speakers, it's kind of easy, but you get people from other countries who, perhaps are worried that they're going to come across as not talking properly, or not speaking the language well enough. That sort of thing. And once they feel comfortable and fully accepted, once they find out that the channel and the membership is fully inclusive, then it's easy peasy.
Yeah.
And you do not get that on those channels that are doing family unfriendly things. These channels are genuinely not inclusive. People swear a lot and they're very aggressive and unpleasant, and that's something I don't want to be affiliated with. Not just online, but anywhere.
Yeah, I actually I know this Russian community. Pretty much what happened is I got really interested in Russian. I really wanted to learn it because I love the language. I absolutely love the sound of it and everything. And then YouTube noticed this of me. I started looking up more Russian, went to Duolingo and all.
Fantastic.
And YouTube noticed this, and then recommended to me this YouTuber called Dobby Killstreak or something like that.
Oh yeah.
And even though I don't understand anything, I went in and was like, I said something, and then some people started switching to English and talking to me. It was really nice. And then I also started talking with the streamer himself, and even though he would speak in Russian, I would reply in English using Google Translate. And, the community of his was just absolutely amazing.
That's terrific. It's really wonderful. Well, you do find that with Russian-speaking communities, don't forget, lots of people do speak Russian in various countries, the former Soviet Union in particular. So you get people from Latvia, Lithuania, Baltic republics, Kazakhstan, Azerbaijan, they all speak Russian. So basically, well, it's going to be similar to what we have with English, but you know, once they find that
Yeah.
people are participating, and if they realize they have non-Russian speakers coming into the particular session, they'll adjust. You know, they'll talk in English or French or any other languages, and generally you find it to be very, very friendly, buddy-buddy kind of approach right from the beginning. And also, Russians will be very, very pleasantly surprised if they see somebody who can read Cyrillics. You know, because they expect that nobody will. And I have a friend, and he's an English chap, and he kind of learned Chinese. So, you know, very unusual. I mean, not anymore, but like 10 years ago it would have been, you know. Today everybody wants to learn Chinese, with the way things are. And if you were to be going to a Chinese restaurant, which is what we used to do, then all the Chinese people would be really, you know, astonished. You have somebody who speaks perfect Chinese, not just, you know, discussing things with them, but also could write. And you know, like with the Chinese alphabet and everything, it's quite extraordinary.
Wait, was it Chinese or Mandarin that he spoke?
Both.
Because I know both.
Cantonese and Mandarin, yeah.
Oh, jeez, nice. Because I've noticed that a lot of Mandarin-speaking people, they have this amazing love for people who also speak Mandarin.
They do.
Yeah.
But it was very interesting because, you know, the waiters and all the other guys, they didn't expect. So I'm trying to take out the sniper. He is on my thing. Did you see him? He was jumping.
Yeah, he was shooting at me earlier. But you gotta get out there because of the zone.
Yeah, he's gone. He's gone. He dropped.
Yeah.
Well, the way I see it, the more languages you speak, the better. Particularly if you're
It's funny
on the young
because
side, you know. And today it's so easy to learn languages because you can do various courses on the internet, to get mobile apps. It's a different story compared to the way things were, you know, as well as watching YouTube videos and various other things. So it's very easy to learn.
And like I said, I wanted to start learning Russian. I even got into Duolingo and learned a bit of it. So I can say Privyet, I это Christian.
You need to learn the tongue
hello,
a bit more,
I
you know,
am
like
Christian.
like the Scots and the Slavonic, because it's quite difficult for anyone who speaks Danish, German or English. We speak our languages from the middle of our throat, very, very throaty languages.
Yeah.
While the Scots and the Slavs generally, like the Slovenes, the Croats, the Serbs, you know, the Russians, Ukrainians, they all speak from further up. So it comes across as a bit wider, a bit crisper, I guess. No gargling.
Yeah,
Enemy soldier incoming.
I've noticed that. Like, I like to think of the Slavic languages more as tongue, not upper throat. I think of it more as tongue because you always hear how they roll their R's and all.
Yeah, yeah. It's hard for me to say. I can actually if I isolate it like r, but it's not as
Ruski.
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 It's IJ at the end. E. You know?
I'm being shot at from behind. We should probably get out of here.
Yeah, as we're chatting in Russian, right?
Yeah.
Спасибо, товарищ.
Spasiba. It's spasiba with a B.
That's right. That's right.
Spas-
Well, even they don't have dialects and
Spasiba.
slangs and it's like any other language. Oh, my friend managed to jump out. That's good.
Jump. I'm jumping.
Need to help our friend because he's bleeding in there. I think he probably had a problem with
Yeah.
this parachute not opening.
I got him.
It's alright, I got him. Oh, you got him. That's fine.
Be careful, because we got enemies uphill.
Yeah, they're just above us.
Oh yeah.
They're sitting on the circle.
Thanks.
No problem, man. Right there. I see him.
Enemy movement.
Yeah, I see him as well.
Just hit one.
I don't believe this. How was he able to kill me? And you're so far.
It was two people shooting at you. Not just one.
On the kill cam, he's like almost 200 meters away from me, using an SMG,
Another guy on top. Another team on top.
firing off randomly,
Front line. But if you lose, you're done.
and you know I'm dead. So it's crazy.
He cracked me.
Capture the objective.
I almost
Two
got
teams.
us. Yeah, we got surrounded there.
I got killed as well. You know.
Back to base. If your team has the cash, they can
No, but yeah, like I said, I was going through a really hard time of just feeling isolated and alone. Because everyone in my life, my best friend back in Michigan, all of my friends back in Michigan, all my friends back in my old school, I had to leave them because of, moving.
Yeah, that's very difficult, particularly when you are in your teens, because you just lose the entire environment.
Yeah.
Oh, he got you.
Yeah.
Oh, that was unfortunate. All right.
But yeah, that was my problem. It's just having to always leave the people that I cared about. All of my friends I have had to leave behind. I'm extremely shy as well, so it's really hard for me to make friends in the real world. And my girlfriend, like I said, well, my ex now, we've known each other for 1.5 years, and we've been together for an entire year. And I loved her with all of my heart, but one day she just came to me and said, "Hey, I don't love you anymore. We're gonna split up." And didn't even give me a choice, no time to think.
Yeah.
And then
Well,
I told her,
It's,
yeah,
I'm just very sorry to hear that, and people can be sometimes a bit inconsiderate, and they'll just forget about the circumstances and all the other factors which could be contributing, But what's important is to, first of all, chin up, and then secondly, you need to remember, even if you don't have, particularly during the times of the pandemic, many friends and people are there, you can always squad up with us, and my community, particularly associated with Destiny, is very, very big. And once I resume with my Destiny streams, you'll see there are lots of people popping in every single day, particularly with the original game. And, you'll never feel alone. You find like-minded people, you talk to them about all sorts of things, and initially we talk about games, at other times we meet up on Discord or, all other kind of platforms, and talk about everything else. And it is a very, very good way, first of all, to engage with others and to meet other people around the world, share your thoughts and views. And also it will give you personally a greater sense of confidence, because talking online and discussing it sometimes maybe with some people who are of a different generation can really help. It does provide that degree of stability, and it really is great. I mean, I love my online communities. And thank you so much for joining us for this match, and I've got to really run, because otherwise I won't be able to get my dinner. They all close very early in Britain at the moment due to the pandemic tier 5 that we entered, and it's going to get tougher and tougher, certainly for a few months, before we manage to vaccinate the entire population. We have really, really bad situation with the virus. We have up to 1,000 people dying a day, and we had a couple of days with more than 1,000 people dying, and about 50 to 70,000 a day of those new cases. So it's really very, very distressing. But we all have to adhere to the measures and make sure we are as far away from everyone as possible. Like myself, 20 hours a day indoors, just go out for my dinner. It's the way it's been almost.
I'm way ahead. I love when the rules came in, they said you guys have to keep distance from each other. I'm like, I'm already doing that for my entire life.
Yeah. Well, but on the other hand, in you know the current situation, it will help you. It really will. People who are very sociable, going down a pub every single day, are finding it a lot more difficult. I've got to run, Hunter. So thanks for joining us.
Yeah.
It's been a pleasure as
Yeah.
always. And try to really squad up with some other guys tonight. I know that they will be playing for a while. Ben and I think Bathos. They came in quite late. Maybe Spurs, Spanner. Try to bring them in, and I'm sure they will be very, very glad to crack on with a few more matches. But I've got to run, so thank you for coming.
Yeah.
And I wish you a very good night.
Yeah. Thanks. You too. Take
My
care,
pleasure.
man.
Take care.
Bye.
Well, we've come to the end of our broadcast. As you've seen, we've had some challenges during the afternoon. We've had that technical problem. I had to attend to an emergency. I apologize for that break. Hope everyone enjoyed all of our activities. Our squad was not as full as usual for some reason today, which was surprising considering that on a weekend we usually have everybody coming. But you know, there are days like this, and as you've seen, we have our full squad playing some of the matches outside of my broadcasting hour, which I think is wonderful. This is what we want to see. We want the community to be growing, we want people to be connecting. Just like Hunter said, he found us, we found him, and we provided a very, very supportive community for everyone who was involved. So thank you for watching. I've got to get my dinner, and I shall see you all tomorrow, and have a very good night.